Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance, and today this is part 2 of my interview with Lori Wyman, the author of The Organic Actor. She is a casting director. She has been the casting director for Miami Vice, Big Trouble, Red Eye, and Recount, and so many others. Enjoy. But you mentioned Big Trouble, and that's a film. It's a very sad story because that's the film that got hurt by 9/11. Is they had the flight, they had the plane scene. Yeah, the plane scene, and like I remember seeing trailers, and it's like you never saw it come out. And then looking back, like I've seen it.
They were talking about
TV.
hijacking, right? They were talking about hijacking a plane and bringing a bomb on a plane. It was a comedy, but it wasn't so funny after 9/11. You're right. You are 100% right.
And I think it's an underrated comedy. It's got Rene Russo, it's got Tim Allen, you know, it's got so many, Joe Warwick,
Oscar Isaac,
Tom Sizemore, Jean Garofalo,
Verduga,
Janine,
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, she's in
Sofia
it.
Vergara.
Yeah, that's like one of her first roles. She's in that.
Yep.
So many people are in that movie, and it's like I don't think people.
Tom Sizemore. Sizemore. Yeah.
Tom Sizemore. Zooey Deschanel. She's in that.
Yeah.
As well. Ben. I forget his last name, but he's a really good actor. He was in the 310 to Huma remake. But anyways, that talk a little bit about Big Trouble, what that was like. I've always liked that movie.
Okay, so that was, I don't remember if that was the first, second, or third project I did with Barry, but I've done a few projects with Barry Sonnenfeld, the director. And the kind of acting that he likes, or the kind of delivery, I should say, is fast and flat. Fast and flat. So when the actors would come in to pre-read with me at the time, I would say it's got to be fast and flat, fast and flat, fast and flat. And the faster and the flatter, the better. And so it was hard for those actors because in order to deliver dialogue fast and flat, you must be 1,000,000% memorized. So you need to invest the time, effort, and energy into learning that dialogue. You can't wing it, and you can't come in and read it. You know, that you can't do. You can't read it. You have
it's got to feel natural.
It's got, and right. So that's what made, I mean, great acting. We booked some great people, but that's what made the audition that much more difficult. Because I was pushing those actors and pushing, and there were some actors who on the pre-read said, I can't do it. And like, you know, threatened to leave. I'm like, oh, no. You're not leaving. You're giving this to me. You're going to do it again. And because they had not invested the amount of time that was needed to fully memorize their dialogue.
Yeah. And I bet that's why Oscar Isaac excelled at, because he's used to Juilliard, where, you know.
Well, he hadn't gone to Juilliard yet.
Oh, yeah.
He was still at New World School. He was still at New World School, which was in Miami, which was a performing arts school. I'm pretty sure that's where he was beforehand. So, but he had gotten accepted to Juilliard. So, so he had already, you know, so he only had a couple lines. His wasn't like a giant thing in that particular movie, but some of those people had some serious monologues, and they needed to knock it out of the park flawlessly. And but I mean, obviously we cast it, we got the people, but it was there were some fun scenes in there. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I like him.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It's
funny guy. He's big. He's 6'4". Barry. He's a big guy.
Really? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. I didn't realize that either. You walked in, I'm like, oh, hello.
Really? Wow. Yeah, no, to me, that just shows how important it is to train the voice. and to train so that you can speed up, go fast,
train your
do everything
train your memory as well. I
as
would tell
well.
actors, pick up the newspaper or a magazine and just memorize a random paragraph that not dialogue, but some random paragraph. And they look at me and I go, it's to practice your memorization skills, because your memory, and while the memorization skill is not necessarily acting,
It's just,
that is a
you have to
skill
do it.
that is, some of the skills, the ancillary skills that are important for actors are memorization skills, being able to calm yourself. You mentioned meditation earlier, whatever it takes. I have a friend who teaches a class, or, she's a friend now. She teaches a class and it's called Hypnosis for Actors. And while the word hypnosis sounds kind of like woo-woo, it's not really. We don't put a pendulum in front of you, but it's training the brain not to be nervous. Her whole course talks about memorization skills, being calm when you audition, being calm when you get to the set. I mean, if you were working on a set with 2 or 3 names, I did a movie once where I had some big names on the set, and they didn't want me just to audition people. They wanted to see reels of people, to see who else they had worked with, to know that they weren't going to freak out when Jack Nicholson walked on the set, or Michael Caine.
You gotta be the same way. You can't go, oh my God,
oh my gosh, look who it is. Right, you've got to be able to not fangirl, when Jennifer Lopez is in the scene with you.
No.
I did a movie early on with
or look
Jennifer
her in
Lopez.
the eyes.
Yeah, she was one of the it was one of her first movies, Jennifer Lopez and Jack Nicholson and Michael Caine. And they were like, we want to make sure that the actors we book are going to be able to stand up against these people and not crumble. Yeah.
No, it's important. And you mentioned hypnosis. That's something that I've looked at, because you're talking to the subconscious, which is extremely important for actors.
She talks about the subconscious mind. Big.
Yeah.
You're right. She has a whole thing.
When I get a script, I write out note cards. I put my line and then the other line. If they're really long, the other line, I'll like shorten it a little bit, and then I'll record the thing, listen to the lines. Then I'll put a space in between it and have the line afterwards. So you're getting the auditory and the visual and the written form of it. You got to do all of them.
You have to do it all. And I always think whatever works. There's no right or wrong.
And do it in different places. Don't get used to just being in your bedroom or in the bathroom, because then you'll get stuck in when they bring you into the casting office, like, oh wait, the air is different here. We have to change it, So it's interesting. It's a weird business. Tell me a little bit. So you got your master's.
I did.
In something involved with this. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I did. I will. I had always wanted a PhD. I don't know. I haven't gotten that yet, but I knew I had to get a master's, beforehand. So I went to a college where I live, because I wanted to be able to study something pertaining to the psychology of actors. And they had something called, it was a drama therapy track. So drama therapy is therapy, but using drama exercises. So you've heard of art therapy or music therapy, where, people are drawing or painting and they do therapy through art, or well, this is doing therapy through acting exercises. I mean, we studied Stanislavski. We studied
Eisner.
It was so fascinating. And so it was not in, which I think it should have been, It was not in the Department of Psychology. It was under the heading of education. So I actually have my master's in education. But when I heard about this, I said, I mean, it totally resonated with me. And I said, I'm going to study that. So I went to school. The head of the department, a lovely man, had been an artistic director of a theater, whom I had known in years past. And then he went back, he got his PhD, and I had lunch, I had Starbucks with him actually. And I said, well, let me talk to you about this. So we met and he goes, I think you'd be great for this program. And I said, oh, I don't know. I got scared. He goes, well, you'll be okay. So I took one class at a time. I didn't, because at the time that I got my master's, I was casting Burn Notice, I was casting The Glades, and I was casting Magic City. I was doing you know, what do they say? If you want to get something done, ask a busy person. You've probably heard that.
Oh yeah.
Talk about busy. So I had a daughter who was at the time 8, 9 years old. So she was, you know, young. And I was casting 3 television series. And at the time, I would go to the office of those particular series to do callbacks, because nothing was on the way it is now. Now, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to watch a bunch of videos. I'm going to create a link. Boom, I'm going to send it to my client and he'll book people that way. So, it took me 3 years to finish this master's, but I was diligent. Just stayed the course, one class at a time, one class at a time. I worked so hard on that. I worked so hard. Every paper I wrote, I mean, I labored over. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours. And I always had the thesaurus. And I mean, I wrote papers. I never knew that I could write papers. And one of the papers I wrote, which was really fascinating about actors, was based on a psychological term called the myth of normality. And what that's about, which is interesting. So the myth of normality is a psychological term talking about, you know, what normal is, what the myth of being normal is. So instead, I told the professor, I said, I want to write this all about actors. And the thing with actors that I discovered, which, I mean, we all know, but I kind of like, you know, delved into it, is that a normal person auditions or interviews for a job. You might interview for a job at IBM or a job at Target or a job wherever, a bank. You interview, and you finally get a job, and you have a job, and you work 10 years, 20 years, you have a job. Yeah. With an actor, you audition, you finally get a job. You work a day. Maybe
you go back and do it again.
And it doesn't stop. So you have to have a different mindset when you audition. You have to just know this is part of the process. And every job interview or every audition that you have is just another opportunity. And your job is auditioning. That's your job. Your job is auditioning. And once you do your job well, then you get the prize, which is you book the job.
Yeah,
but your job is an actor, and then you start all over again. Yep. Right. So there's always, you know, everything's always a little tentative. And sometimes you book a day, and sometimes you book a week, and sometimes you book a month. You know, there might be ongoing for 6 months.
That's why you got to stay positive. Yeah, you see, people don't realize casting directors and actors are very alike, and that we're always kind of hunting for jobs.
Always. I just finished casting a television series for Warner Brothers. It's going to be on Apple TV, starring Vince Vaughn. You know, it's in pre-production right now, so who knows what will happen. The creators of this show are the same people who created the Emmy Award-winning Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I've
So
heard
you
about
know
this
that
show.
they've got some, credibility. And of course, they've
Yeah.
cast other, or they've written other shows as well. I have been on this show for 7.5, 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months. I had a steady job for 8 months. That's huge. Today I'm doing a movie and I'll work on that for a couple weeks. And then I just finished a commercial. And
Yeah.
and so it goes. The normal person would freak out if
Yeah,
their
they
job
would.
lasted a week or two or 8 months and it was over. 8 months to me, whoa, that's you. Can you imagine booking a television show
Yeah,
and you have
that's
to work on
great.
it 8 months? So it's a matter of perspective,
Yeah.
to me, 8 months working on a job is huge. To the average person who would book a job, if they were told, yeah, the job's only going to last for 8 months, they'd be in panic mode. I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
We learn to adjust. And drama therapy was something that was so fascinating to me, to get into the psyche. It's just to reframe things. You've got to reframe
Yeah.
them. Every time you audition for something, you look at it as an opportunity,
So
not a panic situation.
yeah,
And if
it's an
the audition-
opportunity. Show up prepared to do what you prepared and show that. You didn't
Mhm.
prepare, then that's your problem right there.
There you go.
Nobody can help you with that.
That's right.
We can't help you with that. So wrapping up here, thank you so much. This has been
Oh,
delightful.
thank you.
This has been so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have a beginning of the day routine?
I do. I get up early. I don't get up at 5 o'clock early. It's anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30, depending. I get up. I have an accountability group that I've had for a couple of years, and we meet every other Tuesday morning. I have a group coaching program that I work with a group of actors. We do that every Monday morning. I like my mornings. Some mornings, there's this exercise class that I participate in that meets 4 mornings a week. So I try to go to that a few mornings a week. I have always have something. I usually don't plan a Zoom or a business thing until after 10, because I like my earlier morning to be taken up with reading, catching up on emails, that sort of thing. I don't sleep late. I'm not a late sleeper. I like to get up early, straighten up, make myself some breakfast, just get the day organized, and then off I go and answer emails if I can, and get that taken care of. Yeah, I know some people like, oh, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we had a challenge. I was in a mentorship program. I was one of the I was one of the mentees. And so we were a group, and some of the guys in the group decided that they were going to do something, because there's a lot of studies, get up really, 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 really early, and you can accomplish so much. And they said they were going to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And so by the time you would normally get up at like 7 or 7:30, you had all this work done. And I said to them, I'm like, I'm out. I'm not doing that, but I thought of it. I thought, that might be something fun. I like walking early in the morning, like around 6:30. I like to walk, even if it's just a half an hour. And it's kind of like my meditation time. So I do that quite often, just to like process. And it's funny because I'll do that, and then I'll come home and my husband will be in the house, and I'll come in and I'll like launch, what we should do? And we should do this. Because he goes, oh, ho, 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 because I've got all this energy and all this stuff in my brain. I do a lot of positive affirmations. I do a lot of visualizations. I'm really into that. So, but I also, before I do that, I need to get really, really clear on what I want. So there's certain things that I have to get really clear on what I want. and then I create the whole visualization around it. And I create, I create everything around that. That's just what I do. I'm really big on staying healthy, eating healthy, exercising, not crazy exercise where I'm going to hurt myself, but just to move, constantly moving. Some days it may be cleaning my house, bending down, standing up, scrubbing, that's also an exercise thing, because you're using muscles that you may not have used. So if like today is a cleaning day, I say to myself, okay, that's the exercise that and I really like get into it so that I know that and I'll tell you, oh, my back hurts today. Oh yeah, because I was down on my floor, scrubbing the floor and getting the corners and, that sort of thing. So, yeah. So that's,
Do you have a nighttime routine?
Do I have a nighttime routine? I am a great sleeper. My friends are very jealous. If I tell you I need to be asleep at 11, you can set your watch. I will be asleep at 11. I'm out. So what I started doing at night, I'll eat dinner and once again, check my emails but what I started doing at night, just because it's fun and it's mindless, is I watch game shows. I mean, it gets me going, but because I've read, and we all know, I don't want to go to bed at night after watching horrible news or car crashes and wars in countries, because then you dream about that stuff. You really do.
You always set your last thing of what you want to be what you're going to go to bed with.
Right.
Either
so I watch a lot. Right. I watch a lot of Family Feud. I love Family Feud.
With Richard Dawson?
Not well, poor Richard Dawson's no more. No, it's Steve Harvey.
I know.
Steve Harvey has taken over the reins, and he's very good and he's very funny. And I play, I watch maybe 2 shows, and then it gets started to get late, and then all right, I gotta go to bed. I gotta drag myself to bed, and I try not to stay up too late because I love getting up early in the morning. I love getting up early in the morning, because if I can get up early and I can get going and I can do some exercise and eat right, my day is great. I rarely wake up exhausted. That's usually, I usually wake up, I'm awake. I don't do caffeine. I don't do sugar. Sugar makes me like jittery. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do the chemicals. I don't drink soda. I keep myself pretty clean because I used to do a bunch of that stuff. And especially sugar was my downfall. And so I would eat like a big bowl of, I don't do dairy, but it would still be, non-dairy ice cream, which had sugar in it, and chocolate sauce, which was non-dairy, but it had sugar.
Tons of sugar. That's what
and
they're taking.
Literally, I would wake up with a sugar hangover. Really? And that was really hard to like shake that fog out of my brain. So I've adjusted all of that. And now I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. So I like that.
Yeah. Interesting. So you kind of already answered this. What is your meditation? Do you meditate?
I don't meditate. I have tried for sure. And I always end up falling asleep. And somebody said to me, people do that. They fall asleep. I have in my bedroom, in my one of my houses, I have a sauna, like a hot box, a sauna. And I will go into that sauna every night before bed. Every night before bed, I go into the sauna and I breathe in that dry, hot air, which I love. And I do my meditation, and then I wake up in the sauna because I fell asleep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it takes a long time to not fall asleep in meditation. It's very similar to hypnosis. You can fall asleep. You're at your most vulnerable, but it's like, I still work at it. I'm just like, I'm going to get there where I want to be.
I think people do. I think people do work at it always. They're always working at it. Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
What am I reading? I'm trying to think what's on my nightstand. I go back, I read and then I go back. There's a book on my nightstand right now, which I'm rereading called Unstoppable. And Unstoppable are stories of people who have accomplished things that they were pretty much told they were not going to accomplish. I always have on my bedside some Chicken Soup for the Soul book, because I really, if I get into bed and I'm not exhausted, I like to read some motivational story. I love motivational stories. So there's a Chicken Soup for the Soul book on my nightstand. There's an Unstoppable book. I believe The Four Agreements is on my nightstand.
Great book.
Great book. So yeah, I've read it before. I'm doing so these are books that I've read before and reading again. Those are the kinds of books that I read. They are as opposed to storybooks, I like reading books like that because I think we all need motivation. I think we all need something to keep us going. And too many stories out there are sad stories and depressing stories.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing that I can do about it, whatever the situation might be, if there's nothing that I can do about it, I don't want to make myself feel like I want to kill myself.
Exactly.
I don't, there's a lot of stuff going on out there with COVID and with, like big deal stuff. So I do what I can do. I wear a mask everywhere I go. I will be honest. I wear a mask everywhere I go. I'm one of the few people, I should knock on all my wood. I'm one of the few people that I know that has not gotten COVID yet.
Wow, that's great.
Pretty much everybody I know has gotten. I have maybe 4 people that I know that haven't, 5 people, like a very small number.
Yeah.
And then when I ask people, well, how did you get it? Or why did you get it? And they always say pretty much the same thing. I let my guard down. I took my mask off and I was in a room with people that I thought were okay.
Yeah.
And some of these people, some of these friends of mine are in their later 70s. And one friend of mine said, I really thought I was going to die. I thought, okay, this is it. I'm done. Another friend of mine, a young guy that I know, early 30s, he said to me, I thought I was over. And, and I hear these stories and I don't wallow in it. I don't focus on it, but I learn from it. And I say, don't let your guard down, Lori. Just don't let your guard down. Wear the mask. I don't care if people give me the stink eye or the side eye.
If it works for you, it works for you.
That's right. And thank God so far, So that's my whole thing, is just to try to stay positive. I believe in a higher power, something out there in the universe that is bigger than I am. I try to stay, like I said, I try to stay positive. I try not to look too far in the future. I try to stay in today, because I've learned in the past that when I look for tomorrow, I miss today, and I don't want to panic myself. I used to wake up in the mornings in sheer panic, like the heart beating out of the chest, the stomach all twisty. And the reason I woke up in sheer panic was because of the unknown. I don't know what today's.
And that's the worst thing you can do, because if you wake up and you're already starting to think about your problems, and you're already thinking outside of yourself.
Yes.
You're already thinking about, what is this? Things that haven't happened yet, instead of.
And that didn't serve me well.
No, it doesn't. Last question. What are you watching now?
Oh, well, besides my Family Feud, besides my game shows, my Family Feud, my $100,000 pyramid, my Wheel of Fortune, and my America Says, which somebody just got me into. So those are my, oh, and I actually just watched something called Puzzle with Leah Remini. I've watched it a couple of times. It brain trains.
Interesting.
I am almost like, do I say this? I watched Schitt's Creek recently for the fourth time.
Yeah, I saw
I
that when I was
watched-
doing my research. You
Yeah,
love
for
that.
the fourth time. And again, it's heartfelt, it's
Yeah.
uplifting, it's heartwarming. You cry, you laugh. I also watched the whole season of Ted Lasso, which is
I
another.
still haven't watched that. I need to watch
Yeah,
that. I
that's
still haven't watched
good.
Ted
That's
Lasso.
good. And the acting, amazing. I
Yeah.
love watching, I love watching good acting, obviously. And then what I do is I go on Netflix and I pick, I watch a bunch of trailers, and then so the other night, 2 nights ago, I guess it was, I saw the trailer for Molly's Game, and I was like, good actors, let's watch. So I just watched that the other night.
Love them.
I've started like different shows. Like I started watching The Queen's Gambit, and I watched a couple of
Yeah, I need to
episodes, but it
watch
was
that.
it was like sad and
Yeah.
depressing, and I was like, okay, I'm just, between she was a poor little girl and abused, and the drug addiction and alcohol addiction, and I was like, I think I can't do this. I try to watch,
Yeah.
even though Molly's Game was pretty intense,
Yeah.
but it was just a movie. It wasn't like episode after episode after episode. So I truly try to watch things that are feel good, are things that are going to make me feel good when I'm done watching them, that are a little quirky, that are a little funny.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did at Christmas time. I mean, we're in August
yeah.
already, almost September. I mean, I'm sure I'll do it again. I made myself a little challenge. I said, every single day in the month of December, I'm going to watch one Hallmark or Hallmark type movie, a Christmas movie, one of those Hallmark type Christmas
Yeah.
movies every day. And I did.
My father, that's all he does is watch the Hallmark channel.
It made
Hallmark,
me feel so
Hallmark.
good. Yeah, and I've cast a bunch of Hallmark movies.
I know you
And
have.
they're fun. They're nice to read. I'm just
Very nice.
casting one, like right now. I read the script a couple of nights ago. I cried. I was like, it was good. The boy and the girl, they always get together, and that they're also very formula. That, but you still,
It can work.
So
Make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it work.
So that's that.
All right. All right. That's great. Thank you so much. How can people reach you?
Oh, well, go on my website, theorganicactor.com. Right. So theorganicactor.com is my website, which I'm actually in the process of getting, taking things out, editing it, because some agents are not in business. I'm trying to rearrange. So, but
Yeah.
it's still good. And feel free to sign up for the newsletter, because the first Thursday of every month is my Lori Wyman's office hours. I also have a Facebook page for that. And the Facebook page is called Lori Wyman's Office Hours. And I've got a nice group of people. I've got a good few thousand people. I like to keep it a little more intimate so that I can respond to people and hi, and how are you, and that sort of thing. I like
They
to,
don't want
I
like
like to,
60 people in there.
there's like, well, I have like 2,500, but still I'm in there. I respond, I post. So I've got Lori Wyman's office hours on Thursdays. I also have the Lori Wyman's office hours Facebook page and theorganicactor.com, and sign up for the newsletter. So there's ways to stay in touch. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking.
Okay, that about does it for part 2 of my interview with Lori Wyman. Check out her book, The Organic Actor. You can also find her at www.loriwymancasting.com. As always, you can find me at Justin Yance. And I will see you next time on the DMF.